Welcome to the Chamber Vibes podcast with your host, Brittany Timmons, the Greater Guthrie Chamber of Commerce CEO and President. In this podcast, you will hear from local guests who will discuss topics such as leadership, small business, and our vibrant community. You'll also hear success stories and tips from amazing local businesses, dive into important news, meet community leaders, and find out how you can get involved in our community. From the Second Banana Media Studios in beautiful and historic downtown Guthrie, America, here is Brittany Timmons.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another episode of Chamber Vibes. So I am sitting here sandwiched in between Mr. and Mrs. Ropp. So super excited to have you guys on today, owners of this beautiful building behind us. Mm-hmm. I feel like we're ready. Where are we headed?
To the Guthrie Depot.
Yeah, but I was saying, what kind of adventure are we heading on? I feel like,
who knows?
Yeah, my suitcase is down here. So anyway, yes. So they own the Guthrie Depot. Super excited to have you guys on. I've been wanting to have you guys on and talk about this beautiful building and all that you guys have going on. So, awesome. So I don't know who wants to start the conversation here, but first, I'd like to say, both of you, like me, are transplants, not from Guthrie.
That's right.
So you literally chose Guthrie.
Yep.
Yes, and so let's talk about how that came to be.
You go first, Dad.
Okay, well, all right. We had started dating, and he said he knew that I was big into. He knew that I was big into.
I'm like, nope, all wrong. Let me tell it.
I told you we're not going to go back in it.
So even if I'm like, he might as well just start.
All wrong. No.
We need Chris does have a buzzer. He's got a buzzer over there. Anyway.
So he knew that I was big into Victorian stuff, and I loved that whole era. And so we got to go somewhere. And it was nighttime in Tulsa. And I was like, okay, like 20 minutes away. He's like, no. And so I said, okay, no problem. And we just drive. And I'm like, where are we going? And so he brought me all the way from Tulsa. It was our first date to Guthrie at the dead of night. And he drives me around this town, and he's like, it's gorgeous, I promise. It's gorgeous. And of course, it was must have been like a Sunday when everything's totally shut down.
Yep.
Because there was not very many lights on. But it was really, really pretty. And so then we lived in Edmond, and I was out here photographing all the time at the temple and just the whole area, and we fell in love with it. And then one day I was meeting with a bride at a coffee shop and saying, I'd been watching Zillow for like 2 years looking for houses to live in. Yeah. And I said, do you know Guthrie? It's just so cute. There's these historic homes. And I was just like, I just wanted to show her an example that was something crazy. And I was just like, like a house like this. And I went, oh my gosh, we have to go look at this house. And that's the one we're in now. So,
of course, the house we really, really wanted next door went up for sale 5 weeks after we closed on the house.
I know.
Got.
Do not covet thy neighbor's house.
It's all right. Yeah. The Bible says don't covet your neighbor's house.
That's literally.
And we're totally doing
next
that.
Door, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So not only do you own a historic home, then you purchase the historic building, the depot. Yes. So you got to Guthrie, and then how long after that did you guys decide to purchase the depot?
3 years later. We lived like everybody else. You get here and you're like, oh, gosh, it's so beautiful, and you're like, half of them are abandoned,
right?
And like, oh my gosh, and then it starts becoming really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
You go through the 5 stages of grief. You're like, you get upset, you then angry, right? And then so we were really just upset and mad about kind of the current building situation, and then we thought, well, let's just put our money where our mouth is and let's be that change we want to see.
Yeah.
And then
and at that time, the depot, because I remember about 15 years ago, because it's the same year my husband and I got married, we went to a wedding at the depot in like 2008.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was a restaurant there, but I remember the wedding had food. But anyway, I just remember we went to a wedding there, and then it was a couple years after that it was empty.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The lady who had it was her husband and her, and it was I think a passion project of some sort. And then he unexpectedly died tragically. And so she ended up saying, okay, I want to be done with it. And so we got it.
And Ben Coffin's the one that turned us on to that.
Okay.
And then it turned out to be a really good deal. We did, to our honor, I guess, go to Ben and be like, are you sure you don't like want this?
Yeah.
No. And then we get it. And then later on, he's like, I should have got that.
You're like, we'll just let you make some food and do some events with us.
Yeah. But we totally said, hey, so there's no animosity.
Yeah.
Like, if you want this, now you can come in. And like, and he said no. So
when was the building built?
Well, it was built in 2 stages. Okay. So Adam's better at the history than I am.
Originally, the depot was 1887.
1887.
And it was across the tracks from where it is now.
Oh, okay.
And then, as you can read on the plaque out front,
Yes.
and then a lot of the history documentation, there was they had it too low, so it technically is where that floodplain starts out in the flats. Sorry, I'm trying to talk in the microphone. And so very quickly, there was a flood. They realized, oh gosh, and so they reevaluated, and then they moved it to where it is now. But again, it was just those little wooden structures.
Okay.
And then it wasn't until 1903 that Guthrie was like, booming and everything, and that they're like, okay, let's redo it all together. And then they encased it in brick and added the wings and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I might add, I didn't learn this until too long ago, but at the turn of the century, it was the most photographed area and building in all of Oklahoma, because in World War I, this was the drop-off point for soldiers to get on and go to the front. And so families would be taking last pictures with their loved ones. With loved ones and stuff. Yeah.
This is the first time I'm hearing him say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well,
That's so cool. Why not?
It's a Chamber Vibes podcast where we always learn something new.
Even if it's your
Confessions
own
are
stuff.
made, stories are told. No.
Yeah, it makes sense though, because that's when they would see their sons for the last time, and so they'd take a last picture, and so there's all these pictures of soldiers in front of it.
That's amazing.
So that's cool. I didn't know that either until relatively recent.
Yeah. So how long was it a functioning, operating train depot?
It would have been from when it was originally put on the other side, 1889, until 1979 when Amtrak stopped coming.
Okay.
I had an elderly gentleman in his 90s come into the depot a couple of years ago. I don't know. I think it was. I don't know if it was before COVID or not, but he came in asking if he could buy a ticket or whatever, and he had no clue since '79 that it wasn't an operating station anymore. So that was kind of it was kind of sad.
Like bittersweet, yeah, because you're like,
Yeah.
I know, because I know there's, and we can get to that, but there are talks about wanting to get Amtrak back as this being a stop again.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of efforts, and I know the mayor's written support. I've written support. Lots of people, obviously, you as depot owners have written support trying to get Amtrak to stop here again. So
you're just dealing with cities have to be okay with it, which ours is. Both states have to be okay with it,
Right.
Kansas and Oklahoma, and then federal, and then BNSF. Like there's like 5 different entities there
lots
that
of moving
all
parts.
that all have to be okay with it,
Yeah.
and that's the.
I think there's
problem.
still lots of hope for that maybe someday.
There's still, as of right now, I mean, it's the last conversation I heard was that there were 3 areas that were approved all the way up with the big boys, to get the gap closed between Guthrie and Newton. And it could be as early as 2027, but they will give you dates and then it, changes and stuff. So, I mean, it's definitely, it's weird. You buy a train station and all of a sudden you're shoved into, Amtrak stuff.
Yep.
And so people ask us all the time. And so, but actually the next big meeting is coming up in January. They do a yearly meeting and it'll be in Topeka. And so we usually are there. So
Chris just had on the screen for us Adam and Abby with the key to
Oh,
the
that
depot.
was the day we. Yeah, look at it.
Yes, I actually remember before I was even friends with you guys or knew you all. I remember seeing that on Facebook because again, I was already in Guthrie, just working somewhere else, but following all of that, and I remember seeing that picture. So
that was a fun thing to do.
Yeah. Okay. So you purchased the depot. What kind of condition was it in? Because obviously it had been an event venue.
Right.
So what did you walk in?
I should share this gallery with
Everything.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
It was abandoned.
Oh, there's what it looked
Yeah.
like. Some of it.
Yeah.
So which part of the depot is that?
That's upstairs
Right.
in the
If you look at that, look at
gosh.
that bottom picture before Chris
Southeast
moves it. Yeah,
west room.
the floor there is plywood,
Okay.
That's covering every square inch of the top. And when we removed that plywood, the original flooring was underneath it. So that was cool.
That's a cool discovery. You
Yeah.
hear lots of stories like that about buildings here in Guthrie that people are like, I started peeling back layers, and
We had,
you know.
so all the floors had to be redone because either the floor had to be replaced or
or there wasn't any
they
floor
were
at all.
buckled, yeah.
Like, so in that room right there, they're in one of the, that's in the main dining room in the restaurant. So that was just a disaster area in there. So
Okay.
that one was finished, redone. And then the
ballroom didn't have any
ballroom
floor.
didn't have any floor.
Because the previous owners, like previous owners, had not left the water on drip during winter, and it burst, and so
Oh
it
my
flooded the
gosh.
floor in there.
So you walked into a little bit of a mess.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Or a
big mess.
It had
But it was
Yeah.
a big mess.
the,
Yeah.
the attic was just boards up to a few boards and then up to the sky, so there was no installation in it. We had to repaint all of the walls. A lot of rewiring had to be done. The fire suppression system was basically just halfway rotted out, so we almost had to put a new one in anyways. New tanks,
Air conditioning.
all new air conditioning units.
So how long did it take you all from the time you closed and purchased on it to being the Guthrie Depot, what it is now?
We had gauges in there from 33 days from when we
Yeah.
opened.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
was crazy.
That's why I do have a little bit of a hard time when people, and we're not wealthy, and some of these people buy these buildings and years go by. Yeah, well, you don't know how hard it is, and I'm like, well, we
Literally, we did.
33 days. We had ours up like
Wow.
available to have a restaurant come in 33
Yeah.
days.
And how long has that been now? How many years?
We bought it in 2018, May.
And so Gages was in by the summer.
Oh yeah,
June
6
or
years.
July,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Wow.
and we had, when we first bought it, we had contractors come, and they're all just like, oh, it's gonna be $3 million for renovation. Somebody's like, all right, 1 million. All these insane numbers. And so what we found worked the best was, instead of just, we'll just do everything ourselves with duct tape. It's okay. What on each individual item, we can do this one here entirely by ourselves, or we can do half ourselves, half we'll hire out, or a quarter of it we can do ourselves. And so you just do each item like that. That was the best.
Phases.
Yeah, that was the best formula for us. That way we didn't break the bank, but yet we got quality work done, et cetera. Instead of just, we're going to do it all ourselves and get strung out and give up and get exhausted, or we just hire it out and spend millions. So we just kind of found this itemized formula that
Well,
worked.
and getting Gages in there to rent from you.
Yeah, right.
It had to be comforting to have that. And they were already a well-established restaurant
Yes.
that had
Right.
been in Guthrie. I remember, going to a New Year's Eve dinner or something with friends at Gages, like literally 15, 16 years ago. So I don't remember when Gages actually opened in Guthrie, but it's been a while.
By the time we fished them over there, they had been in business for 8 years. And
Okay.
the fact that they had built their business in a basement was shocking and amazing. And
it was
incredible.
actually
Like,
really cool
so
in the
cool.
basement. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it
then
was.
they had outgrown their space, and they needed more area. They needed a
Yeah.
bigger kitchen, and they just needed to get out of that particular building. And it was 100% a God thing.
Yeah, and it already
100%.
had the commercial kitchen in it.
Yes.
Yes.
Had to
Yes.
be
Yes.
worked a little bit.
Some of the
Yeah.
equipment was there, like the vent hood, which is like a 6-figure
Oh, yeah,
item,
it's
was already there and
crazy
operational.
amount.
So that
Awesome.
was great. I think the dish pit, they obviously brought in like their own cooking stoves
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But
There was a pizza thing there that we got rid of, and so
It's perfect for Gages. Like, it's such this neat atmosphere. You can have a really elegant dinner, but you can also wear jeans too.
Right.
But it's perfect for them.
Here was a
It's
big
good-
one
good
too.
fit.
Here was a big one too, Brett, on that renovation stuff. How much was the AC bill when we first got it in the hot summer? $5,000.
Oh, it was $5,000 or $6,000 a month.
Yeah, a
per
month.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And this is why when there was a restaurant in there 10 years prior, because it had been about abandoned for, it felt like a decade or so before we got it. The previous owners in that restaurant, that's why it didn't make it again, and that we'd heard for 20 years something could not sustain there because of the air conditioning.
Not because of the ghost.
Right, right. That's separate.
Yeah.
We can talk about that too. But
We
no,
will. We have
it was $5,000 or $6,000 a month for AC.
insane.
So we spray foamed the entire building, and now that
I cut it down by 75%.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
Easy.
and then it was a twofold thing, and it was that we knew we were going to use the units that were there for a while just to kind of get an idea of what renovations we had, and so we replaced all of the units, and we also spray foamed the building. So between those two things, but I mean, because the cost was like, if we spend that much every month, we bought new air conditioners.
Right.
Right, yeah.
So,
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. So we were able
it
to
went
do
from
that.
about $5,500 to $6,000 to below $2,000 after that. Yeah, and that saved. We wouldn't have been able to keep it like every previous owner
no
before.
restaurant or anybody
Yeah,
would have been able
to-
Why would you do that?
to do
right?
that.
Because I mean,
Right.
they use most of the AC, so
Right.
yeah, it's
Keep
crazy.
people comfortable. Yeah. So yeah, you can turn off, like, you have the AC side for gauges and then the AC side for
Oh yeah,
the
Yeah.
ballroom,
Everything
so
is
that's
separated.
helpful.
yeah. The upstairs is separate.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then we have like an electronic machine that like knows which side needs to pay what. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
yeah, but that spray foam thing and the new units, we would have to have sold it too. There's no way.
Yeah.
$6,000. I mean, there's no way.
Right. No, I was like, wow. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
there's no way.
yeah. And so, okay. So it's the Guthrie Depot. You have gauges inside, still there, still functioning. Wonderful restaurant. Shout out to them, Chamber investor as well. And then the other side of it, the side that you guys manage, is the event side.
Yes.
So talk about what that looks like.
Well, we came from the wedding industry, and so knowing that we were videographers, we were shooting all the time, and we wanted to have kids and settle down, and so we wanted to stay in an industry we knew really, really well. And I've always wanted an event space, and so
I have two.
Adam always teases me. He's like, "You see that?"
That was our first wedding I think we ever had.
There
at
you go,
Depot.
on the screen. Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube.
Yes.
Your first wedding. That's cool.
Beautiful. Anyway, but so we do weddings, private parties, homecoming. Homecoming is big.
Yes.
We've had funerals. We've had,
Really anything.
Anything.
Any kind of
Yeah.
gathering.
Everything.
Right? And you have different price points for that, depending on when people
rehearsal
need
dinners
it.
and weddings, we do a lot of those. And then I have all of our events that we put on. So, yeah.
So with an event, you guys have tables and chairs.
Yes,
a lot of those things.
Yeah, one of the things that sets us apart, there's a couple things, is that we provide the tables and the chairs, and we set them all up for you, and you have minimal, tear down, clean up. And then one of the other benefits is the fact that we do have gauges inside the building. You're able to legally, you can go get a drink, or if you don't want to provide bar service to your weddings, they can go get a drink from Gauges and then just bring it over because their liquor license covers the whole building.
Right.
So that's huge that we're able to be flexible when another event venue says, no, it's got to be this way. And we're able to do that because of how the laws work with the restaurant.
And then gauges, if they want to use gauges to provide
Food,
then you're right
Absolutely.
there,
They're right
which
there
is nice.
all the time. We do it all
Yeah.
the time. People do rehearsal dinners and have an extension of the restaurant all the time. It's wonderful. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's a really cool situation.
Yeah. So if people want info about booking, going to your website.
Yes,
the best?
theguthrieDepot.com.
Okay.
And they can click on there and get information about weddings, pricings. And if you're going to book your wedding, I would highly recommend doing it now because with all the renovations that we're doing, as we finish the renovations, we are increasing the pricing. So one of the biggest things that we just finished was a redo of the kitchenette and finishing upstairs.
Yep.
All the bridal suite, the groom's suite.
And those are things you didn't have for
No,
a while.
no,
you know,
yeah.
So now you're adding those services.
all those
and
amenities
those
are
amenities,
going. Yeah, and so as time goes by, so it's a steal of a deal. Even with the price, increase down the road, like it's still super affordable. I mean, right now all day is $17.50,
Yeah.
9 a.m. to midnight, and we know that is
It is.
extremely competitive because I know all of the buildings because we've photographed in them.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
we know
and it
all.
has a stage, so if you want to have a band, I know you guys have. We can talk about that too, but you have hosted live music events, or if the wedding wants to have a band,
Yeah,
or
like the Oklahoma Swing-
slideshow,
yeah.
whatever, you have all of that.
Well, I mean, like Greg Burgess and the whole Byron Berline crew, they come every once a month, and they have an event there that's wonderful. They have Oklahoma Swing,
Swing,
and they've brought in the Gatlin brothers. They've brought in, I can't even remember who they had. That was a Grammy nominated artist a couple of weeks ago, and it was great. So
Yeah.
we get really good business.
Lots of fun things going on there. Yeah, so as I brought it up earlier, we have to talk about the ghost.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is listed as one of the haunted.
Yeah, BuzzFeed a few
Locations.
years ago did a top 50 haunted in the
50. Is this a good thing? I thought it was just like maybe. Oh, Adam's like, we're top 50.
top 50 number 36.
Out of Oklahoma?
No, out of
This is the
everybody. Top for
nation,
the nation.
And
Amityville.
now it's worse. Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
Amityville Horror was 35th, and then Gettysburg was on this list. So we need to frame it and put it up. That's pretty cool. Hey, all publicity I'll take.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. It is cool. It's
so
in
it
books.
had-
I've seen it haunted. I think there's a book that the museum sells called Sells that is called Haunted Oklahoma.
Yeah, we're in there for sure. Stone Lion always usually pops up on there,
Right.
and for Guthrie,
Yeah.
any
So
place.
I'm guessing you've had some ghost hunters then.
Oh
come
yeah,
in.
we've had
Paranormal
tons
investigations?
of tons of paranormal people come in. They like to stay all night long, until literally the sun rises. They want to stay all night. We let them go in gauges first because we'll go in there with them. And then when they're done, we can lock off that side.
Yeah.
'Cause, they have liquor and stuff over
Yeah.
there. And then we'll let them run around all night. But they set up cameras everywhere and the microphones and all that kind of stuff. And
Have you had any weird experiences?
if you're in there at night by yourself
Yeah.
and you're walking up the stairs, it always feels like there's something behind you. I don't know if that's just the way the stairs are creaking.
You're like, I'm not sure if that's just me
Yeah.
or
There are some.
Stay there at night because I'm like, I don't want to become a
Like, sun's gone
believer.
down, I'm out.
Yeah.
Right. I don't want to become a believer.
There
in
are
that
some
way.
people
Yeah.
like Ronnie Gage's wife, not because of safety, but just she doesn't like being in there at night because of the scary stuff to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember there's been a lot of death there because how many trains come in and out, Abby, at its peak?
It was 80 trains a day.
80 trains a day.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember behind the depot, south in the field where all the other brick buildings are, that was the storage area. You got to remember that was full of just where trains would come in and park and have cargo. And since that's where the cargo was, that's where if somebody was going to try to rob and steal
Okay.
stuff, they'd be out there trying to rob. And so that was where altercations would happen.
Nothing recent.
No. This is
Nothing on the news.
1904. Yeah, this is 1904. This is like
We
pre-state.
just want to put that out there.
This is
Sounds
not
like
like
there's a lot of death. So we just
last month. No.
Yeah, come get married. There's death there.
No.
Guthrie News page
There
has
was
certainly
a-
not had to post anything or go live from the depot, which is a very good thing. So
Right.
anyway,
On Harrison, there used to be a grocery store, and the grocery store owner was opening up shop, and he saw two people laying in the middle of the field over there on the depot's property, and he went over, and the night watchman and a criminal had shot each other at the same time, and they found them both dead. There was another altercation where 3 guys got caught robbing a train out there, resulted also in a homicide of Guthrie PD. His name was Webb. To this day, I think he's still the last Guthrie officer to die in the line of duty. Turns out the ringleader of the guys robbing that train was the local Seventh-day Adventist pastor, and he got away and made it down to Texas. The other 2 got killed.
there's so many stories. If, like
Yeah,
I said,
yeah,
if walls could talk.
If Wallace could talk.
Stories. But that's part of our history. I mean, we have, Elmer that's buried.
Elmer McCurry.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's now a Broadway show.
Oh,
Right.
really?
There's a Broadway show about it. Yes, and they
Yeah.
worked with our museum. And
But they're
the
not
crew
going to
there.
have Elmer sing, right? The whole premise is that he's the dummy.
I'm not sure. Right.
Like that'd be
Sure,
a different
he's
kind of feel.
mummified.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Mum's the
But
word.
yeah, but I'm just saying Guthrie's full of,
Yeah.
it's
But there was-
it's part of our
Yeah.
history and our story.
But there was a lot of people who passed away there because of that. And again, there was a lot of trains just parked everywhere. A lot of kids would come and be climbing over on the trains and stuff like that.
yeah.
And they'd also get on as they would go like up to Perry, and the kids would ride on them and ride back.
So glad none of this is happening. To
Right. One incident,
terrifying.
kids were playing on it, and one started to move and they were jumping on, and the last one to jump on slipped and fell underneath and died. So there's just been a lot of tragic deaths happen there. And so
Yeah.
that's why I think a lot of people think there's haunted stuff.
Right. Like paranormal
Paranormal activity.
I
there
mean,
because
the
stuff like
comment
that.
we hear, and then on the same side of things, like, being a Harvey house, we have all of the stories that we've heard about Harvey girls. And the one that we've heard the most is, I can't remember what they consider her name, but Stacy Frazier's told me this story. But it's a lady in a blue dress, and if you worked for Fred Harvey, you signed a year contract, you lived at the depot, and you lived upstairs with a matron. You weren't supposed to be married, courting, or engaged for the year that you worked for him, so that he didn't train them and then have them go and marry all the cowboys. And one day, she told the matron that she was secretly engaged and got in a whole bunch of trouble and was very, very upset. And then they saw her on the platform the next day with a gentleman that did not fit the description of her fiance, and they never saw her again. And then like a year later, the fiance shows up from like World War I. Correct me if I'm wrong, but and he comes looking for her, and they said, we don't know where she is. We thought she went to go find you, and he stayed here for 11 years looking for her. And so the story is, and we hear it from all the different ghost hunters tell us the same story, is that there's a lady in a blue dress that walks the tracks. And
That's a big one.
That's a big story, yeah.
When was it Harvey House?
1903.
It was 1903 till I think they finished in like the 40s or 50s.
Yeah. We have what is interesting was that multiple ghost hunters come in. They all seem to get the same vibe though in the same rooms. The basement, the original basement, and then they all
I've never been down there.
it's
so cool.
It's dungeony, yeah.
It's so cool.
Archways and
Not
stuff.
sure I want to go.
Yeah, and then the
Maybe
second
in the daytime.
the second is in the northwest room upstairs. They all
Okay.
get vibes in both of those rooms. There's one group that's come out a few times from 2 states away, and it's so neat to watch them. They live stream it, and they're sleeping, because there's a group of them, and they're driving. And I'm looking at this like, wow, these people are traveling a quarter of the country to come to our place to do it.
Yeah, they're dedicated.
I mean,
stay
no
all
matter
night.
what your thoughts are on it, it is really cool. That it's bringing people for all different reasons.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Something interesting about a lot of those ghost hunter groups. A lot of them, more than half, will be women. Whereas when you think of these groups, it's like 28-year-old guys, and
Because we ain't afraid of no ghosts.
right. One of them though, there's like the majority were women. And something I noticed too, and this is kind of just something to think about, which kind of makes you smile, is when they get done, they're like, all right, we're going to Village Inn or Denny's or whatever. And it's all about the camaraderie and like the fraternity and sharing this interest and being friends. And that's kind of,
That's cool.
yeah, that's
Like I said,
cool.
they're coming to Guthrie.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
it's-
talking about Guthrie.
It's
They pay us
actually-
money to do it. I mean, it's great.
It's cool. We had Vanessa Hudgens was here shooting a movie, and she crashed a ghost hunter group there, and she was like, just I don't know what she had to do that day, but she was not leaving until she got the full ghost experience.
We had one group come in, Brittany, and they didn't have all the fancy instruments. They all had an app on their phone that you download, and the app did the
The EV.
yeah. You
like,
hold it out and be like, I'm getting your read, but they all just had like a ghost hunter app.
Yeah.
And they all just had the ghost hunter app, and I was like, yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, that is.
But there's videos on YouTube that you can find of them doing it in our building. Like there's one in the basement and everything. And
That's cool.
the basement's really cool. If you haven't been,
I don't know about that.
they say that there's the whole tunnels in Guthrie. Well, we've got a
We have a 10-foot archway in our basement.
Archway that's
closed
clearly
in that
tunnel.
goes under the tracks.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So put that little rumor
Debunk some
around.
of that info. Yeah. Well, obviously, I know. I mean, you wouldn't have, bought a home here and invested in Guthrie as far as like raising your family here, but clearly, it shows how much you love our community and our town, and that you wanted to make this what you do, and be a big part of Guthrie. And so with that, I know, you ran for city council, so now you're serving as city councilman, and that's not always the easiest thing.
No, it is
position
not.
to do. And so no, I commend anybody in those roles, because you obviously have a desire to do what you can to make Guthrie a great place to
Thank you.
live and work and invest. And so I just thank you for your time, and I know
you.
that's not always easy, and so you guys stick out to me as one of the families that just loves being here. You guys love talking about it. This is home for you. This is your livelihood, and so.
Yeah, we've made our entire life, like we've been happy and lovingly made our entire life the community of Guthrie.
Yeah.
And it's changed our life for the better. I mean, we just, in every way, shape, or form. So
And then being in the film industry, that kind of helps too, since we have a cool town that you can
I know.
find some
Isn't
locations.
that crazy?
Yeah.
I remember just not even too long ago, years ago, when they were doing Reagan, they shot it across the street from our house at the temple. And I remember looking out and being like, wow, the movie industry's here. And I'd wanted to do it years ago and didn't have a career at the time. And I just little would I know that not even a year later I would have
Yeah,
a
be in
full-fledged
that
career.
space, yeah.
And then the star of that movie would be starring for me in a movie. I mean, it just never would have thought that when that happened.
But I bet being now like from Guthrie, when you talk to people, I mean, that's got to be cool just to be able to us being like one of the film capitals of Oklahoma.
It fits. Yeah, they're like, oh yeah, because you're in the Hollywood of the Midwest,
Yeah.
pretty much is Guthrie,
Right.
Not just Oklahoma, but,
Right.
but Guthrie is at least at one time. Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone thinks it's like, oh, so you moved there for the industry, and I'm like, no, actually, it's just coincidence. That,
Right.
It ended up in my front yard.
Yeah, I just ended up being there.
Yeah.
No, it all clicks together when they're like, oh, you live in Guthrie, but you make movies, and then you own a building people want to shoot at. There's like these weird connections.
And if they actually knew the order,
Yeah, exactly. I had one company.
You took Abby here on a date.
Right.
And
Yes.
the rest is history.
I had one production company call and talk to me about locations they were wanting to shoot at, and they got to one, and I was like, are they serious? And I let it go, of course, because you know me, I would let it go, like see how long I could do it. But there's this place in Guthrie, it's a train station, we're going to try to get in there, I don't know, blah, 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 blah. I just let it go. I was just like, well, I just need to get a hold of them, find out, call, and all this kind of stuff. and I think they kind of appreciated the joke when they found out initially, because I didn't tell them in that meeting.
Right.
Like they show up physically to the place, and I'm like, I've got the keys, and I'm like, yeah, well. And they don't know until later, and they were just kind of like.
But that also shows like unbiased, like you weren't being biased and being like, I've got a good spot. I mean, obviously you want to be able, but
they wanted to know.
Too funny.
He lets it go for quite a while. Like I sit there and I giggle about it because I see how much he enjoys it.
Oh yeah.
And then the Mike Rowe show wanted to shoot at our place for his television show that he was doing, and it ironically and coincidentally happened to be the last location that they didn't have locked down. They're like, but we're confident we're going to get it. But they were shooting like in a week, and they were telling their locations guy this, and he goes, two things. One, it's strange that you guys are waiting a week to secure your locations. And number two, how crazy is it that the building you want is owned by a filmmaker that I happen to know?
That's funny. Oh, crazy.
And then finally on that, this is kind of annoying because I'm shooting an Enid in a neighborhood in like 3 weeks. Okay, I'm going there. They're going to be annoyed. I'm bringing like 100 people. There's another movie in Guthrie right now shooting next door to our house, and I'm like, man, I don't want a neighborhood. I don't want a movie here. They're going to be clogging up my streets, shooting next door to my house. I got to go to Enid where I'm shooting in a neighborhood
With 100 people. Yeah.
It's so hypocritical. I'm like, man, I don't want this movie next door to my house, and like I'm literally doing that in a neighborhood in Enid, shooting at a house.
So now you'll be more sensitive.
I just don't want it.
to Enid.
Gosh, I just don't want it. But yeah. Well, our house next door has a double lot. And so a crew can get in and have space to like shoot the angles of a house.
Oh, okay.
And so this is not the first time that our neighbor's house has been used.
The house you wanted?
Oh.
Yes, the house we wanted.
The house we wanted, yes.
It all goes back to that.
I know.
Coveting the neighbor's house.
You should have knocked on Cody's door.
I know.
I'm telling you.
Can we buy this?
That's too funny. So let's talk about, you mentioned, that you guys have the Oklahoma Swing and stuff like that, and you've done some teas, and I know you have one coming up.
Yes.
So talk about what that looks like.
So
What are these teas? Spill the tea, Abby.
90-year-old women.
Spill the tea.
I'd wanted to do tea parties for a while, and so our next one is actually the 1st year anniversary of the first tea we did. So this is our second annual Victorian tea.
Okay.
And it's on December 7th from 2 to 4, which is the same day that they do the homes tours and the first Victorian walks and all Victorian.
It all goes up.
So you can go to the homes tour in the morning, and then you can come have tea. And it's not just tea; it's a whole experience. So we dress all in the Victorian garb. We encourage everybody to come in their Victorian best or Sunday best, and we go over the history of the depot. We talk about all the things that Adam has found hidden in the walls and in the floorboards.
We didn't even get to that.
Everything we've been given, or we found like the original telegram machine, and all those kinds of things.
We cater the event.
Yes.
It's a great date night. We have live music. Somebody like Chris Evans should go with his wife for a date, or somebody like, I don't know, just randomly picking somebody. They should go.
Yes.
Or Brittany.
I do want to make one.
Yes.
I did
Yes.
tell Abby, I really do want to make one. I
Yes.
think my girls would like. Corey
They
loves a good
would
Victorian
love it.
outfit.
You get to
He will
dress
break
up and
it
go.
out. He will
Yeah.
be breaking out the
Well,
Victorian outfit.
Chris needs to go.
We were really
Yeah.
pleased because the first year, I mean, it's not just, it's not girls. It's
Right.
literally like, if you are a history buff, if you're someone who likes good food, if you're someone who likes warm, yummy, coffees, teas, I'm going to have wassail there, then this is something that you definitely want to go to and put aside time for.
We bring in like one time we had a harpist come in and she plays these really cool obscure songs from the period, or we had one group come in
Celtic.
It was
and
the
they
Celtic
would tell
you
music,
the history
yeah.
of the song real quick, and then they play
cool.
it. So I
Yeah.
mean, it was
Corey
just
would
like,
have liked that.
Yeah.
Irish.
And then during the summertime, I did the American Songbook, and I sang through the American Songbook and went
I
through
wish
all
I
of it. So it's not just tea and thank you very much. It's really a huge experience. It's fun. Our daughter comes. Jasper got to go to his very first one, and it's very formal, and it's an opportunity to get to sit down and make a memory. I think the thing about Christmas nowadays is it's just like more plastic stuff.
Yep.
And all these, and nothing against anything, but like I feel like a lot of stuff gets very repetitious, and people look for different experiences. And this is one of those experiences that is very unique, that is very much like you can make it a family tradition. Like this is the thing you do at Christmas time, and it ties in so
Fits
well.
with Guthrie,
Yeah,
the
it's-
history, the Victorian, everything.
Yeah, and then so you can spend the whole day out here. You can stay at one of the Airbnbs. You can experience everything. You can also then, at night they do all the horse and carriage rides, and they have the live windows and everything. So it just fits in really, really well. And so I can't think of, like, I if we didn't put these on, I would go to them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but we want to be able to use the building that God gave us and be able to bless
Yeah.
other people with it. And these are the types of events that I really like to have.
Super unique too. Like you don't see this happening. Just there's a tea and there's a tea and there's a tea. Like that's
Yeah.
not happening.
No, and
so
that's
it
the
does
whole-
truly make it a unique experience.
Yeah, and so when you come in, I mean, it's all very formal. We actually had somebody come to one of the teas and say that they've done tea events at very high end restaurants and very high end hotels, and they said that there was a 5-star hotel in Canada that they went to, and they said that our tea was actually a little bit better than what they had
Wow.
experienced there, and so. I mean, I can't say enough about. I know it's our event, but at the same time, like. It's a wonderful opportunity to go with family.
I try to think, how could we make this to where Phil Nichols would go? Right?
We got to convince Tanya. And so we'll start there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, it sounds magical. I've seen the photos. I definitely want to try to get there. And you've done how many of them have you done just this year?
So I do
3 or
one every
4?
quarter.
Okay, one every
so
quarter.
if you start from a year ago, this will be the 5th one that we
Okay.
have done, and it's
It is
crazy.
ticketed though, so everybody needs to get on and get a ticket.
Yes, and
Yes.
the tickets range from $15 to $50, and it will tell you all of what you need. Everything you need to know is on the website under our tea upcoming tea event, and you can read about it, and you can see we cover stuff on Facebook, and you can always shoot us an email or a message if you have a question.
Cool.
And so the biggest question we get is, do we have to dress up? No, we don't have to dress up.
Right. It's just part of the
It's Sunday
ambiance.
best. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just fun to dress up and do all that kind of
Right.
stuff. And
I said this at Chamber Coffee, like get on Amazon and you can get Victorian pieces.
oh, he's got
For
it.
very affordable,
He looks-
prices and piece stuff
Yeah.
together. And
Yeah.
there are a few places in town. I think some of the antique stores also have some pieces.
Chris, do you see
it's
the
pretty
picture
easy
of
to
me
find
with
them.
my outfit on there anywhere? Do we have my outfit on there?
I'm sure that there's probably pictures under
you're
teas.
making
I should have
Chris's
shared like all of my galleries on my phone with him beforehand.
Be it relatively, I think it's recent. Mine was $39 on Amazon,
Nice.
And
and
his
it
is a
looks fantastic.
the awesome jacket.
People are like, "Wow,
very Edgar Allan Poe kind of
yeah, it looks cool."
steampunky awesomeness. But yeah, it's very, very cool. So
The
And then-
Timmons need to get there because my family has made it a tradition now. We completely embrace the Victorian walks. I want to say this is probably our 7th or 8th year in a row that we have dressed up, all 4 of us. Hadley is 13, almost 14, and I keep wondering when she's going to say, I don't want to do this anymore, but I'm going to hope that she
Wasn't she one of our
to-
territorial governors?
probably
was,
be.
and
both of
weren't
the
you
Is that my
girls
page?
have been.
And weren't you?
I was not. I did not
Oh,
win. I got
yeah,
beat.
I'm
Ronnie
looking at
Fields
what you're
beat
doing.
me.
I don't think I.
Ronnie Fields beat me in 2019.
Oh.
But it was
Okay,
a
it's
tight
over.
race
It's all right.
between Ronnie Fields, myself, and Tammy Boxley. We had a blast.
Oh, that was really fun.
But both of the Timmons girls, Aubrey's the current.
Yes, I
governor.
was gonna
She'll
say,
be
wasn't you-
giving up
was-
her
Yes.
title here in a few
Well,
weeks.
both
but-
of our children were territorial tots.
yes.
So
And in a few more years,
I know.
Gingy,
Then they can.
It'll
then
be
they
time.
can go and start doing junior governor.
Yeah, but I think my girls enjoy it. I know Miss Linda over at Heritage has had them in the live windows, and then Hadley started recruiting friends to join her to do the live windows. And so I hope it's something that they always want to do. I know for the four of us, we enjoy just kind of being like a welcoming family and photo props walking around. That's pretty much our role during the walks, and it's just magical and special. And so
Yeah.
the tea just fits right along with that.
It does.
So
It does. And plus, it's just such a beautiful day to come out and do those kinds of
Yeah.
things. So it
hopefully
we
we'll have
you think-
good weather. We've had good weather the last
Chris, do you
few
think
years.
Ronnie would like the tea?
Now Adam's having
You
a
think so?
side conversation with Chris on my show. Chris is like the Wizard of Oz back here. You don't know
Oh,
that
oh,
he's
he doesn't
here.
know that
behind
he's
the
here.
curtain.
Yeah, he does.
Brittany, do you think Ronnie
he doesn't
would like
have
it?
a microphone either.
Do you think Ronnie would like Ronnie Phillips would like it?
Oh, Ronnie Fields? Yes.
No, Ronnie
Phillips.
Phillips.
I don't know. No, I don't know. Sarah, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah would.
We could get Sarah.
Ronnie would go.
Yeah. Because the boys would be cute, but I can't see the boys wanting to dress up.
No.
Well,
I
one
don't
of the
think
other
he would.
benefits about what we do at the depot is I love to decorate the ballroom like crazy for Christmas.
Yeah.
And so another shameless plug is that if you have your Christmas party there, I mean, the room is completely
already
decorated
decorated.
and gorgeous, and you don't have to do anything. All you
Trees and
literally
lights
only
and-
thing you have to do is, if you want to, is, set up your tables and put decorations on it. So that's why
Yeah.
we're always booked at Christmas time, because you're walking into, my goal is eventually having it feel like North Pole City in there. I mean,
Right.
just bananas in there, but of course it takes a little bit of time to get
Adam's over here
there. He's like,
rolling his eyes or side-eyeing. I'm not sure. That's why I'm sitting in the middle. No.
So, but
Yeah.
that's a big benefit of having that. And then I keep flirting with the idea of a massive New Year's Eve party.
We've talked
And
about it.
I've
You know
wanted
that
to
I
do
would
it for.
support this.
I've wanted to do it forever,
Yeah.
and I start thinking about it in November, and I'm like, that's too
That's
late.
too late.
We also
So,
thought
yeah.
about doing
Because
a.
there's nowhere in Guthrie that our local bars and stuff, like, of course, are open
Yeah.
and welcome people, but there isn't really like a
New
New
Year's
Year's
party.
Eve
No,
party.
we need to do it, and I mean, I almost did it this year, but we just can't. I need to be able to have the time to get it out.
Right.
Yeah.
Abby
We're doing
also
the
wants
tea
to
and
do a
everything.
mother-son dance.
Yes,
cool, yeah.
Because I was
The Rainbow
pea
Girls
green
always
with
do
envy.
the father-daughter dance.
Yes,
so-
when I saw when they did the ring
Yeah.
that
And they
that
do it
father's
every
daughter's
year.
dance, I was like, I want a mother son dance with
She wanted to
Jasper.
do the pageantry.
I did. I want to dress up my little boy, and I want to go dance with him. It would be so fun. I know.
There's
well,
your graphic. on
yes, there's my graphic. Yes,
Chris
because
found
we've
that
talked
with
about
the
doing
mother
it.
son.
Mother son dance, which I honestly want to do it the same day that
course.
they do the father daughter dance.
Most.
Oh, yeah.
I want to do it the same
Most
day.
sons,
Yeah,
though,
I wouldn't get to go,
above 10 wouldn't want to do that, but that's fine.
But that's
That's
yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Could be
I've
for
still
little
got
guys.
several years before
I
Jasper
know.
says,
They wanna
no,
do it
Mom, that's
Could be
not
for
cool.
the little guys.
Yeah.
That's true though. But being a girl mom on daddy daughter dance nights, I get my time to myself. So it's pretty awesome.
That
So
is a great time.
That's great. Brittany's got the candles, the hot tub, the wine. Like it.
Yeah, usually
All the
actually I think
rom-com.
I call the other mom friends that also
Oh,
have
really?
daughters, and we're like, what do you want to do? So anyway, no. Well,
That's
thank
funny.
you guys so much for
Yeah.
being on today.
We
You're
love it,
so much
Britt.
fun. I feel like we could probably have a Joe Rogan length podcast with the three of us for sure, and
Right.
we're not going to do that
Right.
to anybody. But anyway, you guys are doing great things. So glad that the depot is thriving.
Mm.
Please keep it in mind for your events, whether it's something small you need for 2 hours or 2 days. They are available. It's ready to go. So beautiful light
Kids'
fixtures,
birthdays.
floors, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bounce house days.
Yes, there's all kinds of stuff. So
Right.
make sure you follow them on Facebook so you can keep up with what they have going on there. Get your ticket for the tea. And I just thank you guys for what you do for Guthrie and being a part of it and supporting the chamber. And it takes all of us working together. So
It does.
But that's what's great about Guthrie.
It is.
Yep.
Got
That
got a
synergy.
good,
Yeah.
good crew. So, All right. Well, I think that's it. Anything else you want to add?
No,
We covered
this
it
was
all?
great.
We went
Thanks
from
for
ghosts
inviting us
to-
on here.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for spending some time with me today.
And if
So-
you're not a chamber investor,
You should be.
you need
I
to be
did
a
not
chamber.
slip Abby at 20 to say that.
And they're a chamber investor.
But you need to. These
Thank
I need to do a
You guys
Hallmark
work
movie and have
really
Brittany as a
hard, yeah.
character. We're like, and they're a chamber investor.
Oh my gosh. I need to go take the extra class at Meridian Tech and
Oh
get
my gosh,
certified
and just
first.
be in it? Yeah, right.
So I can be an extra. So anyway, all right. Thank you guys so
Yep.
much for tuning in. I definitely recommend. I mean, you can listen to it on Spotify and stuff too, but this one's a fun one on YouTube, so you can see all the beautiful pictures. But we will catch you next time for another episode of Chamber Vibes.
Thanks for listening to the Chamber Vibes podcast from Second Banana Media Studios in beautiful downtown Guthrie, America. Be sure and check out a new episode every other Monday. And until then, remember to choose Guthrie.